Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, a real estate investment program. Listen and learn how to use real estate to build wealth and passive income streams for you and your family. We bring you experts every day to discuss and answer your questions on everything from single family homes all the way up to 600 plus unit apartment complexes. And now, the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Good afternoon. This is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited, working on your financial freedom. Del Walmsley says something that sounds a little bit strange the first time you hear it. He says you cannot save your way to retirement. And you think about that, and that goes beyond conventional wisdom, I guess is what I would say. Until you hear a story like from the one from our guest today. Joe Cantu joined Lifestyles Unlimited in 2016 and has tripled his net worth since then. What that means is he spent a lifetime building a net worth like we all do. And then within 5 years of joining Lifestyles Unlimited, he tripled that. You will never triple your net worth in your IRA in 5 years, or your 401k, or by buying gold or silver or mutual funds. You just can't do that in those kind of instruments. But with real estate, you can. And we always talk about, we bring you experts every week. Joe is what you would call an expert in passive investing in addition. So we're going to have a great time talking to him today. Joe, I'm so glad you're with us. And I want to get to know you. Tell our audience a little bit about your background, who you are outside of real estate investing.
Hey, David. First of all, thanks for having me. It's another great day to be on the radio with somebody from Lifestyles. So thanks for having me as your guest.
Absolutely.
When you were doing the intro, you were very kind. It reminded me of one of my favorite quotes. Many of us grew up with Zig Ziglar. And Del shares this often. You can have everything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want. And so as you were saying that intro, it just reminded me of that. So thank you for the intro.
I love Zig Ziglar, and I love that quote. I use that quote actually in the free workshop that I do. It is a great one, and it is absolutely true.
And it's just so true. And from what you said, right, I never thought this is where I'd be in my life at this point. I had plans, I had spreadsheets, I had all those wonderful things helping me get to where I got or wanted to get. My goals were set at 62, and I'm just blowing those throughout the door or the window, roof, whatever you want to call it, during these last few years. But just telling you a little bit about myself, I'm born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, Central Texas. Great area, great place, great growth. I've been very fortunate. I'm the oldest of three. My parents, they did, the traditional Hispanic family. They sacrificed everything they could to give us everything we have, education and whatnot. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful time growing up. I was born and I recognized very early in life that I had two things, right? That I enjoyed helping people and that I had entrepreneurship and ideas, creative thinking type mindset. And so, over the last 21 years here in San Antonio, I've been blessed to work for a company that supports the military and their families. I don't call it work because I really enjoy doing what I do every day. And it's just been a blessing helping them. As far as giving back to others in the community, I've enjoyed that, like I said, throughout my whole life as a very young person all the way into my adulthood. I am currently serving as an officer and commander of an engineer company for the central region of the Texas State Guard. That's another thing that has brought me a lot of blessings as well. So, and then on top of all that stuff, because I guess I have to stay busy. I am in the process of creating a coaching business that focuses on helping others change their mindset and also personal growth. So there you have it.
You do seem to have a real need to be busy because you are doing a lot of stuff. I'm very impressed. That's awesome. You said that. I started to start kind of laughing because I'm like, okay, is this all in the same time frame? But it's great.
Yeah.
Hey, so tell us what you were doing for investing before you found Lifestyles Unlimited.
Oh my gosh. I think it's important for me to set the stage. I got interested in real estate probably like in 1988. A good friend of mine, Jay, we worked together. We were young. We had a lot of the same mindsets. He took off with real estate. I think we were just 20, 21 years old, and he took off with it and was very successful at it. And even being close to a good friend, I didn't have I did have. I had this thing called fear, right? Fear stopped me, and I just let it and got complacent with fear being, oh my gosh, if I do this, I'm going to mess it up or it's not going to work. And so I had the inclination to get involved in real estate in the late 80s, early 90s. And, I actually didn't buy my first investment real estate until 2012. But anyway.
Wow. Pause right there for a second. So you know what Zig Ziglar says about fear, since you brought Zig up in the beginning?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He says fear is often false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real, and people have so much so many false beliefs about real estate. But go ahead. I had to put that in there since you brought up Zig, because that is so true with real estate, and it's what keeps people from moving forward.
Absolutely, and you're spot on with it, and I'm glad you did bring it up, because here's the thing. I guess I got complacent, as I mentioned, but I felt that there was other. I'd always been in high school, early years. I was opening up the Wall Street Journal in the library. I was looking at stocks and mutual funds. And so I felt that I still had the traditionally, like the way that we're brought up or that we learn, or at least somebody mentions, invest in a 401k, invest in an IRA, and just do it, dollar cost averaging every year, and you'll be fine. The traditional pensions are for the most part gone. I do see a couple of companies starting to bring them back, but for the most part, people don't have them. And anyway, that was the path that I was on, saving through investments and IRAs.
So tell us about your first deal. This was prior to Lifestyles. You went out, I think you said you bought it, was it a fourplex in 2012?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Several people that I knew in real estate reached out to me and said, wait a minute, your first deal was a fourplex? And I said, well, remember, right, I've been reading and learning and studying real estate for 20 years. I feel that I should at least start at a fourplex. But I just happened to mention to a good friend who was a realtor that I just say, you know what, we were in the Valley in McAllen, Texas, over the weekend, because that's where my wife is from. And we were driving around, and I saw a lot of real estate and a fourplex. And I said, I think I might be interested in buying one. And he said, well, why don't you just buy one in San Antonio? I think I know somebody that might be selling one. And I'm like, well, let's see what happens. And so then I was committed, right? All of a sudden, fear is gone, right? I was like,
that is great. Hey, pause right there, and let's hear the other end of that on the other side of the break. We are with Joe Cantu on Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Hang out with us for a little bit longer.
We're back with the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. We're here to answer your questions and help you become financially free.
Glad you're with us on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is David Ruzicka. I've got Joe Cantu with me today, who does a lot of passive investing in multifamily, that is apartment communities, real estate, also some investing in some single family houses. And right before the break, we were talking about the first deal that he did before he joined Lifestyles Unlimited in 2012, and it was a fourplex. Joe, tell us just briefly about how that worked out for you.
Yeah, well, like I was mentioning, I just kind of opened my mouth and forgot about fear for a moment. And my friend, who happened to be a realtor, said, here's a fourplex. And so that was in 2012. All of a sudden, I find myself signing paperwork, and we're in motion. People are paying rents. We had people moved out. My biggest fear was vacancy. And we got them filled up right away because it was in a great location. And, every time somebody moved out, we moved in, increased the rents. And then just 3 years later, I threw a number way out of the league on if I could sell it for this, I would sell it now. And my realtor didn't think we'd get it. We got it, and now I had this big chunk of money, and it's like, what do I do next?
Wow, and I want folks that are listening and you have a fear about real estate. This is a guy who is an insurance guy with a large corporation, has no real estate background. He's always been thinking about real estate but afraid to do it. And his very first deal, very successful at it. And that's the beauty of real estate. We make money in 5 different ways, so it is very forgiving. So I want you to hear that and pay attention to that, because that is why we choose real estate. And so, Joe, then tell us about how you heard about Lifestyles Unlimited.
Well, so, it's interesting because just like right now, Saturday, I'd be in the car at some point, maybe driving home from somewhere or somewhere in the garage, and I'd hear just a bit of part of the show. and I'd hear real estate and people doing it, and I just never took the action or never moved forward with it, just to listen to a little, piece here and there. So one night I'm walking my dog. It's literally just black, dark outside. And I come to this corner light and I'm thinking, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And all of a sudden I remembered the radio show, and I said, well, with technology, there's got to be a podcast. So sure enough, I'm under the street light on the corner searching for podcasts, and I find the Del Walmsley Show. And, if you love podcasts or you don't know what a podcast is, figure out what it is, go listen to it. I listened to, I think, everything that was on the library, some of them a couple of times between, I think that was somewhere around October, November of 2015 to probably January or February of 2016 when it was the first opportunity I got to go to one of the workshops. And you did the workshop in Houston. So I went to the one in San Antonio. And the big part of that was I wanted somebody that had a local presence in the area that I could go and sit down, and I knew that they'd be there tomorrow.
Right. And so when you went to that free workshop, were you skeptical? Were you questioning? Were you already sold from listening? You listen to a lot of that. You listen to Del a lot. So
Sure. Yeah, no, I tell you what, I'm a very skeptical person, but I think because of the fact that I had listened to so many podcasts, I'll tell you what happened for me. When I went into the office, and I remember the first person that I saw, Bob DeLong, I'm over here registering to go in, and they give you a name tag. And I turn around, and I see this name tag, and it says Bob DeLong. And I said, I've heard him on the radio. And then I start walking through the crowd and mingling and just listening to people. And I look at name tags because, like I said, I'm very skeptical. And I start seeing a few name tags of a person, just like myself today, that's invited to be on the radio. I start seeing those people, and I'm like, this really is for real. And I felt even more comfortable. So then, I heard the 2-day workshop, and then of course that goes into, that was the free workshop, which leads into the opportunity to attend the 2-day workshop. And I moved in, I signed up for that right away because I said, okay, I feel very comfortable now. My skepticism was satisfied.
If folks have not heard about the 2-day seminar, that's kind of the linchpin of the whole membership. We take you step by step, A through Z, single family to multifamily, how to locate, negotiate, rehab, lease, and manage both single family and multifamily. It's actual education. It is a complete course. It's not a teaser seminar. It's not, hey, you take this. No, you can take this and go out and begin investing right away. I got an email from a guy from 2 years ago who, when he joined, he now owns 12 doors, $5,400 a month in income and passive income, and that's just from that 2-day class. And so, Joe, tell us, what were the big takeaways for you after attending that 2-day class? And by the way, I know for folks that are listening, you attended. It was David Fisher, who, if you go to our website, lifestylesunlimited.com, and you search through my podcast, you'll find me interviewing David Fisher probably in the last 6 months, I guess. And that was your first exposure, Joe. But tell us, what were the big takeaways for you from that class?
There was a lot of big takeaways, but I want to reset for a second because there was one other key piece. When I called for the workshop, Jody answered the phone, and she's a sweetheart. She answered the phone, and she was asking me some questions, and I was asking her questions. And she said, hey, there's this expo coming up. Would you like to go? I'll give you a free ticket. And unfortunately, I had something blocked, but it was because it was a week away that she was telling me, like, hey, we really would love to have you. Do you want a free ticket to the expo? And I was like, oh, my gosh, I would love to go, but I just didn't get a chance. And I thought, once again, it was just reiterating that I felt comfortable with the place that I wanted to be. Everybody was so friendly and wanted to help each other. And I want to take that moment because we're I don't know if you know this or not, I'm counting it down to the day. We're 82 days away from the Lifestyles Expo, which is going to be in Irving, Texas this year in Las Colinas.
And the September 3rd and 4th.
Absolutely. And the reason why I'm so excited is because typically, one, it's been in Houston, but two, the bigger part of it is we usually have it, or I say we, it's usually been scheduled in the March, April timeframe. And this year, because of all the ongoing stuff that we know, it was postponed till September. And I'm missing my friends and family, right? I text them and I keep in touch with a lot of them electronically. But, I've just developed this wonderful family and friends from all over the state and country, and even some out of the country over the last few years that I am just truly looking forward to it. And so not only to go see your friends or meet people that are doing it, but to get so much education in a couple of days, I would definitely recommend that you sit down and think about how you might be able to attend that, whether it's a drive or a $50 Southwest Airlines ticket.
Let me tell folks something about that, Joe. It is the largest in-person gathering of successful real estate investors in the world. And it is 2 days. There's also there's a multifamily road trip on Friday of that weekend that you can go on. It is a great learning opportunity. And if you go to wealthandpassiveincomeexpo.com, or you can go to lifestylesunlimited.com, but wealthandpassiveincomeexpo.com, I'll get you I can give you a free pass. $97 is what it costs. If you enter my name, David, all caps, you can get a free pass to the expo. And like Joe said, it's in Las Colinas this year, and definitely worth the plane ticket if you're out of town. Southwest Airlines is really cheap. You can get there from anywhere. And so I would encourage you to be part of that. And Joe, you use that as a tool for your investing, right?
Oh, absolutely. I want to come back.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's go back to the beginning now.
Yeah, let's go back to the 2 days.
Hold on right there. We're at the break. So we're going to hear about Joe's experience with the 2 day on the other side of the break. Glad you're with us today on Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Now, let's get back to your map to financial freedom.
This is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited. I'm glad to be working with you on your financial freedom. I'm with Joe Cantu today. I do want to remind you one thing that Joe talked about right before the break is our Expo. It is the largest in-person gathering of successful real estate investors in the world, and it's going to be September 3rd and 4th of this year. You can go to wealthandpassiveincomeexpo.com. It'll be in Irving at the Irving Convention Center at Las Colinas, and I can give you a free ticket. So if you go to wealthandpassiveincomeexpo.com and enter my name, capital all caps, D-A-V-I-D, David, I'll give you a $97 ticket for free. So I want to just encourage you to do that. That is one thing that Joe has used that has resulted in his success and being able to connect with other real estate investors. And Joe, before the break, we were kind of going back to the beginning. What was your experience after going to the 2 day class, and what were the big aha moments for you during that 2 day seminar?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I always like this question because it just takes me back and keeps it simple for me. So remember, I studied and learned, and I gave others. I don't know how many people I encouraged to go get involved in real estate, but even though they were doing that and taking action, I was still relying on the fear. But anyway, so when we went to the first day of the 2 days, a lot of the stuff that David talked about, David Fisher, was a lot of stuff that I was familiar with, but he gave me a lot more. And the key point is the information out there? It is. But listen to what I said. It took me 20 years of reading and research to do that, and I got it in 8 hours from David Fisher on a Saturday afternoon. And so, I mean, great job of putting all that information together. The second day is the day that really stuck out to me, and the reason why is because that's when the multifamily investing opportunities were going to be discussed. And I was there because I wanted to be a passive investor. I mentioned to you early on how I keep myself busy with my job and other activities, and I just felt that I didn't have the opportunity and the time to be successful, and so that's where I started as a passive investor. And before you get to it, I just wanted to share my most favorite phrase or two words out of that: forced appreciation.
That's great. That is great. And I'm going to let you explain that in just a second. Before you do that, I want to explain to people the difference between a passive investor and what we do at Lifestyles Unlimited. So we teach you how to invest, go out, find your own single-family homes, buy them, rehab them, lease and manage them after the fact. We also teach you how to do the same thing with apartment communities. But then there's even another leg to that, and that is called passive investing, where a lead investor says, I'm going to go find a big deal, one that is bigger than I can pay for myself, and then I'm going to raise money from other investors within Lifestyles Unlimited, and they will be passive investors. I get a small override for that, a management fee, but they get all the benefits of investing in an apartment community without any of the work. All they have to do is sit back and receive a check. We used to call it mailbox money. Now it is, I guess, ACH money. I'm not sure what you call that, but it comes straight to your account. And so when Joe says he wanted to be he really wanted to be passive because he's got a lot of things on his plate, a lot of the things that he's doing in the community and with his job. And so, Joe, you decided that was the path you wanted to go. And by the way, and we teach you how to do all those things. We are a real estate investor education and mentoring group. And so we teach you and we mentor you through all those processes. So, Joe, you decided to go with the passive investing, and we have a couple of minutes here. Tell us about your experience in doing that. How did that work for you?
Well, a couple of things, right? So I mentioned force appreciation, but
please.
The part that I was excited about, like I said, and this is where I knew I was the right fit for a passive investor, is because I sat through patiently for 2 days knowing that I was going to sign up as a passive investor. And I never even thought that I could have gone to David on day one and said, hey, I'm ready to sign up. But anyway, and then now they've all screwed it up because I used to get the mailbox money and I used to get excited to hold the check. And now sometimes I don't even know that I got a check until I got the email that says, hey, we put a check in your account.
It just shows up in your account.
It shows up. But you know what? For the person that's busy, for the person that's maybe even fearful and has the money and they want to look at it and meet somebody and get to know them and then invest with them in a deal and watch it work out, that's the most beautiful thing about this whole process is there's so many avenues for so many different people. For the people that want to get their hands dirty and want to do it, there's that path. If there's the people that just want to sit back and are maybe a little nervous, they can still put their money to work. It ain't working in the savings account or the stock market anymore, that's for sure. Or at least, it's going up, but nobody knows when the balloon's going to pop. And so, but the forced appreciation part that I love about apartments, and I've seen this happen time and time again, and we're getting ready to do it with one of our investments, matter of fact, up in Dallas, right, is when the operator goes in and has their plan and they know what they're going to do and they're going to start putting their plan into action, when they increase the value of that property by raising rents and increasing other amenities on that property, after a certain period of time, the value of that property goes up immensely. And then you can do what's called the refi cash out of the property and usually get at least half or even all of your investment back, but still own the property and still get the checks. And that's happened to me probably 4 or 5 times already in the last 5 years, which is just the most amazing event ever.
That is how you get rich through real estate, quite honestly, because you make money in 5 different ways: with regular single family, through cash flow, through equity capture, through appreciation, through principal pay down, through the tax benefits of depreciation. But single family is valued with what is called a comparative market analysis. Your house is worth what the average houses in your neighborhood are worth. With apartment communities, it doesn't matter what the apartment community across the street sold for last month. What matters is how much money is yours making. And a 10% increase in income for your apartment community results on average in a 100% increase in equity. And that is why we love multifamily. And that is why we encourage people, if they have enough money, to go straight into multifamily. Some people think that single family is training ground for multifamily. No, it's what you use to build your net worth to the point that you can get into multifamily and really see those dramatic increases in your net worth, the kind of increases that Joe has quite honestly seen. So, Joe, you went through that class. You're all fired up about that, and you're going to be a passive investor. What was the next step for you?
So, I wanted to take that fear that I lived with for so long and didn't even realize realize why. I turned that into action. I said, if I'm going to join something and I'm going to, even if I'm going to be a passive, I need to put action. I need to take that first step. And so that was, I think, March 26th, if I remember correctly, the exact date of the 2-day. I went to as part of your membership, I went to the road trip, or the multifamily road trip, which was, I think, a couple of weeks later, and met several leads, just like y'all described. And one of them was getting ready to close on a deal, and he just happened to have some space for me, and I was able to invest. And so early May of 2016, just very shortly after, 45 days after my membership, here I am investing in my first property. And then really within the next 90 days after that, I was in 3 more properties. So I just was excited and elated to see where we were going and how fast we were moving, or I was, taking action.
And I'm so glad you said 45 days. That's one fear people have, is how long will it take me to get into a deal? This was 2016 before we had everything on the web the way that we do now. You can even accelerate that process more now, but at that time, you were able to do that. And you said the roadshow. We have roadshows, multifamily roadshows, where leads will come, this networking opportunity. And in Houston, we just did our first live in-person roadshow last Friday, I guess yesterday. First educational opportunity. We're doing the 2-day classes in person as well in San Antonio and Houston and Dallas and Phoenix, as well as across the country. So I really want to encourage you to go ahead and go to freeworkshoplivestream.com, hear about all this. I will explain in detail what Joe is talking about in terms of forced depreciation, give you actual numbers, how that works out. So be sure and go ahead and do that. So on the other side of the break, we're going to continue with Joe Cantu, a guy who spent a lifetime building a net worth and then tripled it in 5 years with real estate investing. Glad to have you with us on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Warning. Listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show will change your life. We will teach you how to create wealth and passive income so you can be financially free. And now, back to your host.
So glad to be with you today. This is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited and the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. I am with Joe Cantu, who is a real estate investor out of San Antonio. And right before the break, we talked about the 2-day class and his foray into passive investing into multifamily syndications, where there's a lead investor and then there's passive investors, and he wanted to be passive. And so, Joe, tell us about your experience, kind of your returns, what that did to your income, to your net worth, the passive investing.
Yes, we could talk. I could talk a whole day about this, but I'll keep it limited to a few minutes with the radio show. But over the last 5 years, my wife and I have invested in over 20 multifamily investments. We've sold some already. Many of those, or several of those, we did cash out refis. Everything that we've invested in has just been incredible returns. I slept well at night, though, but that's the biggest piece. I was able to invest in something, have peace of mind that it was real estate. I think there was a small time frame within there where COVID, right? People were fearing that people were going to stop paying rents and all that stuff, and so there was probably some values that went down. But I never lost sleep, and the operators that we had, knowing that they were working together and sharing best practices and doing everything they could to keep residents happy and paying. Even through the trying time of last year, our investments were still, I want to say that overall, I didn't do the calculations because I've been a little busy here the last 12 months. I was deployed a couple of times. But I know that my returns were much better than the S&P. And here's the thing, right? The S&P, they keep printing money, so that money goes into the stock market, and that's inflating the value of it. I would be very nervous right now if I was still investing in the stock market. And I'm not a stock advisor, and I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not telling people what to do. But I would just say that for me, owning real estate and seeing what it's done for me with you mentioned the several different ways that real estate makes you money. I'm going to add on the L part of that, the ideal investment. The L is the leverage. Being able to buy something 5 times the value of what I'm doing with my money on top of that, or even as a passive investor. I mean, just the returns have been phenomenal. Like I said, it's the best feeling is when you get your whole investment back and you're still getting returns of 5, 6, 7%. They're really infinite returns because you're putting your money back to work somewhere else.
Yeah, that is so true. You're able to deploy your money elsewhere. You're still getting money from a property. You've taken out all the money that you've invested. I want to touch on the stock market idea there for just a second. I remember the other day you said investing in the stock market, you'd get to a point where you're kind of flinching because eventually it's going to fall down. And I would encourage people, go Google right now. The article was in the last week. It was on the website Motley Fool, which I kind of enjoy. And The article was titled 5 Reasons a Big Drop May Be Imminent. 5 reasons a big drop may be imminent. And the number one reason was the S&P PE ratio, the price-earnings ratio, is at 37.5, which the past 4 times it has exceeded 30, the stock market has incurred losses between 20% and 89%. Now, the 89% was the Great Depression, so maybe that's a little bit high. Maybe that's not going to happen again. But it's according to the experts, it's imminent. And, of course, it always happens. It happens over and over again, generally about every 15 months. The S&P has a correction. So with real estate, we don't see that because, like Joe said, we're making money in 5 different ways. With single family and with multifamily, we're even able to force the property to appreciate. So you've had a tremendous experience there. And Joe, how in the world were you able to invest in, remind us how many properties, because you have a full-time job, and one of the fears that one of those false evidences appearing real that Zig Ziglar talks about, fear, is that real estate takes so much time. How are you able to do that?
Well, there's a couple of things, and I know Lifestyles is always there as a mentor and educational program for us to make things easier. And so now you have the podium where a lot of the lead investors can put their opportunities on that. But either way, you get some paperwork. You meet. Well, let me rewind it a little bit. You meet lead operators, which we call them lead investors, and you get on their list. And when they have an opportunity that comes out, they email you, and you take a few minutes to review it. And I highly encourage you, it's an investment. Please review it, and then you decide if you want to invest in that. And I've gotten to the point now where I'm a repeat customer with some of these lead investors because they've already proven to me they know how to run a business. And so when I get it, I just look at some key pieces of it, and then it's even faster, easier for me. There was a couple of years ago where I decided to move into the single family space just because there was an opportunity that popped up when I was at the 2-day, and I said, well, let me go try it. And I wanted to prove to myself that I did have the time, as busy as I was, because another excuse, right? And so anyway, not only did I find one deal, I wasn't sure I was going to get it, but I put myself in for a second deal. I got both of them within like 30 days. It was the most bizarre thing. And anyway, I did a total rehab on both of them. I used the map that Lifestyles had shared with me. So many people made it easier. I was able to call and just get advice, even on the small things throughout the process. And I still have those 2 investments today. The cash flow is incredible. I think combined, my cash flow on those 2 houses is over $500. I'm contemplating refinancing right now to lower the price or lower the rate and increase my cash flow. But it's just so bizarre to hear that. And then even I found a third property in 2019, right as we were going to the expo, and I ended up getting that deal. And the only reason I was focused on that third deal was if it worked out, the equity capture was going to be right at about $100,000. And so my goal was to get in and get out within 18 to 24 months. We just sold it this past March, and that money is being put back into passive investing with some real estate or multifamily investments.
Now tell me, so these lead investors that you're investing with, there's some guy standing on the street corner saying, hey, give me $50,000 to invest in a deal. Well, you're not going to do that. How do you feel comfortable investing with these lead investors? Oh,
I'm extremely comfortable because you have the opportunity.
But why?
I guess there's a whole bunch of different ways I could answer that. But the really cool thing, going back to the Lifestyles model, is the Lifestyles white paper as a mentor organization and educational group that was put together to protect the passive investors. So the lead investors follow a set of rules to protect everybody. But really, when you get to meet these individuals, their heart is just such in the right place, and they want to be successful, not only for themselves, but for all the people that they're holding their, in some cases, life savings. And it's just a beautiful thing, right? When you hear family, it is a very true word.
Yeah, and I remember when I went through that 2-day class, just like you did, Del Walmsley said the white paper was put together to protect the passive investors, to protect the people like you and me who are just putting money in, and we're trusting that lead investor. That's a lot of trust to put into somebody. And Lifestyles is very serious about making sure lead investors follow those rules, and the lead investors have mentors, and the lead investors have the education, and it is all there to protect that passive investor. So you've got a great lifestyle now. You're doing the things that you want to do, not the things you have to do. You mentioned to me that basically you could be retired right now, but you do enjoy working, so you're going to continue with your job. Tell me a little bit about what we call the psychic benefits of real estate investing. When I say psychic benefits, I don't mean like you're going to have somebody read tarot cards for you or read your palm or anything like that. Psychic means those non-monetary benefits of real estate investing that you've experienced.
You know, my mind can just go in so many different directions right now, but sometimes it's the smallest things that are the sweetest things. And I'm going to throw another Zig quote because this is what I live by. You are a success when you have made friends with your past, are focused on your present, and are optimistic about your future. And
that's a good one. I haven't heard that before. Say that again. Say that again so everybody gets it.
You are a success when you have made friends with your past, are focused on the present, and are optimistic about your future. And you know what? I know people that have been successful with the stock market, but that's just an individual feat. There's no celebratory stuff I can tell people at a mixer or something. But when it comes to lifestyles, the thing that I love most about it, I use the country club analogy, right? We've all joined a country club, so to speak. And what lifestyles present to us in that analogy is the opportunity to play tennis, golf, or maybe just have dinner. But they don't tell you who you have to do it with. And what we get to do as members is get to meet people and see who we connect with and who we like and who we would love to do business with. And then you do it. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And I heard these things when I joined, but I didn't really understand them until I went. And I started meeting strangers and just asking them a question in passing. And they took the time to answer it for you. And this is the members. This isn't just the employees of Lifestyle. It really is a special organization, and people really care about the organization, and people want to see everybody succeed. And so that's what I really enjoy most about the Lifestyles organization.
Go ahead, finish. You got 5 seconds.
Okay. I was just going to say, I was still skeptical, and I'm over here Facebook with David Fisher, and I'm looking at his friends, and I'm reaching out and asking them questions, and I'm like, this really is for real.
It is for real, folks. That is a perfect ending to the show. Glad you're with us today. Go to lifestylesunlimited.com. Be sure and sign up for the Expo, Wealth and Passive Income Expo.com. Hope you have a great, great weekend.
The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.